That's fine. That's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Everyone, we're going to start and some people come in, that's fine. So welcome. My name is Meg Krudish. I am the Director of Admissions here at the CUNY School of Public Health. Thank you for coming. Just a really quick agenda of what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of the admissions process of our school. If at any point you have questions, just raise your hand. We're in school now, we're in graduate school. So just raise your hand if you have a question and hopefully we'll answer it. And then we'll have some faculty members talk to you about all the programs we have within this department, okay? All right, so let's get started. Here at the CUNY School of Public Health, we are a graduate school. So we only have graduate programs. There are no undergraduate programs at all. We have 3 PhD programs, 5 MPH programs, 3 Masters of Science and certificate programs. And if you picked up this brochure, you'll see that they're listed right here on the first page. So if there are programs that you're interested in that we're not going to be discussing in detail today, let me know. And you and I can discuss them a little bit in more detail. We have some other events coming up as well. Okay. So now what are these programs? It's the listing of the PhD and the MPH programs. The ones that are in red are the ones that we're going to be focusing on today. Is anyone here interested in the PhD? You, right? I know that. Okay, so most of you are interested probably in the MPH, correct? Great. Just to let you know, we have these Masters of Science programs as well, and we have some certificate programs. I'll talk a little bit more about the certificate, but if you're kind of not sure which MPH program you're going into, the certificate, the advanced certificate is a great way to start. Okay, and we also have this concentration in maternal child, reproductive, and sexual health that we'll be discussing. Okay, so CUNY SPH, we're accredited. We're an accredited school. You can rest assured that we adhere to the same standards that other schools of public health in the nations adhere to. We are very flexible. So our schedule is very flexible. How many of you are working, either part-time or full-time? Right, most of you. And because we're the CUNY School of Public Health, we're part of the CUNY family, right? And as CUNY, we make sure that we are here for you and that we have the flexibility to allow you to advance your career. And so a lot of CUNY students go to school or they take care of their families and work at the same time. And so they're juggling these different responsibilities. And so here at the School of Public Health, all of our courses are offered in the evening. And you'll see there are some people coming in. There's a class right here across the hallway. So all of our courses are anywhere between 4 to 10 p.m. in kind of 2-hour increments, right? 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, and whatnot. So it's all in the evening, Monday through Thursday only. No Friday classes, no weekend classes. And we also have online courses, which provides you even more flexibility in how you do your graduate school. In addition, you don't have to go full-time. You can do part-time work as well. In fact, most of our students, 90% of our students, attend school part-time because they're working, because they're taking care of their families just like you, right? They're working professionals like you are. And so we're here for you. We're here to support you. And because of that, we have all these flexible schedules. So the 15 out of the 42 credits for the MPH program can be taken entirely online. And so these are the 5 core courses that everyone takes, the first 5 courses. So for the first year, you don't ever have to come to this campus if you don't want to. But if you can, if you do want to, because those 5 courses, those 15 credits are offered online and in person. And you get to choose, you get to mix and match. Maybe one course you take online, maybe one you take in person. Entirely up to you and your schedule. Most of our students, like I said, work full-time or part-time. So they take 2 or 3 courses per semester. If you're coming here full-time and you're doing the MPH in community health, that MPH would take you 2 years, full-time, 3-4 courses a semester. But because most of you might be doing it part-time, it will take you about 4 years, 3 to 4 years, right? Depending on how many courses you are taking. We do offer summer courses, but they're limited. So not all of our courses are offered in the summer, okay? We also let you start in the spring or the fall semester. So it's entirely up to you of when you want to start. How many of you are thinking of starting your graduate career in the spring semester? Okay, so that's the end of January. The fall semester is at the end of August, right? So if you're thinking of doing it for the spring, the deadline's coming up. I'm coming up to that right now. Well, first, just the cost of attendance, right? We're part of the CUNY family. That means we have very low tuition because our funding comes from the state, the federal government. And so our tuition is really quite low compared to other schools of public health and other professional schools. It kind of this kind of gives you a little bit of a snapshot of how much you would expect to pay for the entire degree, right? Not so bad. We have scholarships to help you with that. Scholarships to help you with, to offset that cost of tuition. We have something called the Dean's Scholarship, which gives you some funding towards your first year of study. You have to have a pretty competitive GPA, 3.5 or higher. And then you have to be registered for at least 6 credits. So if you're thinking I'm only going to take out 1 course here and there, you might not be eligible for this scholarship. In addition, if you are a New York City employee, and I know some of you are, right? We have a couple people here. We have something called the Mayor's Scholarship Program that also gives you funding towards your education. And yes, go ahead.
I mean, you work in New York City or you
have depending on which agency you work for and whether or not they participate in that program, in the Mayor's Scholarship Program. It's a good idea to go to your HR department and find out what kind of benefits you have as an employee. For example, I, as an employee of CUNY, can take a course anywhere in the CUNY system for free. That's the benefit that I have as a CUNY employee. Oops, sorry. You as a city employee or any other employee in healthcare, wherever you might be working, might have some kind of benefits like that, where your work is paying for you to go to school. So definitely inquire about that. That's a good question. Now the application process. How do you get into these programs? And we're going to hear a little bit more detail about the MPH in community health and that specialization. But this is just overall, how do you get into the MPH program? How many of you have started the SOFAS application? So a lot of you, maybe even half of you, have already started the application, so you know what it is. SOFAS stands for Schools of Public Health Application System. That's an online application portal.
Look at that. Sorry.
Oh, that mic. Sorry.
Sorry. Right around.
You have questions? We have a mic for you. Schools of Public Health Application System is SOFAS. That's the online application portal. You cannot apply to any of our programs, certificate, or anything else unless you go through that application portal. It's an online application. It's kind of long. It takes you a while to complete it, but if you do it kind of step by step, you'll get through it. It just takes a little bit of time. And so what are the requirements, right? You'll see that we require you to have an undergraduate degree, obviously, since you will be going to graduate school with a GPA of 3.0 or higher. And we use a combined GPA. So some of you might have been to 2 different schools, or you might have started at a community college and then gone to a senior college, or you have 2 bachelor's degrees, or maybe you have a bachelor's and another master's degree. We combine that GPA into a cumulative GPA, okay? We require 2 letters of recommendation And we recommend that at least one of them be academic. That means from a faculty member. But because most of you are working, that means that probably most of you or a lot of you have not been in school for a while, right? Maybe it's been 2 years, but maybe it's been 5 or 10 or 15 years since you've been to school. You don't have those relationships with your professors anymore. And we understand that. We know that. And in those kinds of cases, for those 2 letters of recommendation, we ask that you get those letters from, maybe your supervisor or someone that knows you well enough to be able to tell our admissions committee whether or not you'll be successful in graduate school, right? The resume is important, and that kind of ties in with the experience, because the resume is going to show us, the admissions committee, what have you've done in public health or in the general arena of public health. So that resume should be tailored to your application. It shouldn't be like a resume that you use to apply for a job. It should really try to showcase your public health experience, okay? And that could be anything. You could be doing an internship, you could be doing research with a professor or someone else, you could be volunteering, doing some kind of public health thing, or it could be your job. Anything that ties what you've been doing to public health. And public health is so broad that I'm sure that you can find something that you've done in the past, for most of you, that ties it into public health, okay? Statement of purpose, I would say, is the second most important part of your application. The first being your grades. The grades are very important because that is going to tell our admissions committee whether or not you can be successful in graduate school. But that's not the only thing we focus on. So I don't want you to stress about your grades and your GPA, because that statement is also very, very important, because that's going to convey to us why you want to do public health, why you want to go to graduate school, what you're going to do with that degree when you graduate. Really think about that and take some time to write that statement. And once you write it, look at it again, rewrite it again, show it to your mother, show it to your friend, show it to whoever. Make sure that it sounds good and it makes sense, okay? So it's someone else's eyes are on that statement. GREs are not required for the MPH and community health, but they are required for some of our other programs. So if you're interested in some of the other ones, let me know. We can talk about it. And if you have a foreign transcript, we require a WES or an EC evaluation. Come talk to me after we finish with the presentations, and we can talk about what we require for those transcripts, and same thing with the TOEFL, okay? Does anyone have questions about the application process? Yes, go ahead.
There's no interview or anything?
Not for the masters, no, there's not. Because your statement is actually going to kind of give us the information that we need. Those letters of recommendation are also going to be very important because they're going to give that outside perspective on you. Right. Let me just say that the statement also kind of acts as a writing sample, right? Especially in community health, you'll be doing a lot of writing, and you'll be doing writing that really matters. And so it's not a quantitative specialization, right? You'll be doing a lot of writing that's convincing about public health. And so you want to make sure that your statement is really well written. You had a question, yes?
So if you submit your GRE score and a writing sample anyway, does that help your application in any sense or not necessarily?
If you have taken the GREs and you've scored pretty well, definitely include it in with your application. Come talk to me and we'll talk about how well you did and whether or not you should include it.
I didn't take it yet.
You haven't taken it yet?
It's 3 weeks from now.
It's up to you. You can take the GREs, and after you immediately get the score. Right after you finish, right? It's an exam on the computer. You'll have a choice to either send those scores to us or not. So, but that's a good question. And there's a question online.
We have one from online. Yeah. So we have Patrick online, and he asked, I think this is regarding a previous slide. He asked, does CUNY provide funding to admitted PhD students?
Yes, we have funding for PhD students, for new entering PhD students. And I don't have slides for that here, but I can share with him slides from our PhD open house, which happened last month. So if they email us, it was a Patrick? Yeah. If you can email us at admissions@sph.cuny.edu, we'll give him those slides. But there is funding for PhD students as well. Not every PhD student is funded, but we do have some funding available. Okay. Anyone else for now with the admissions? And you can always come up to me and ask me questions a little bit later.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Hi.
I was interested in your community health program.
Mhm. Yeah, second master's, sure. So that's a good question. If you've already taken some courses that you believe are public health related, can you use those courses in your MPH program? And if you've used those courses for another degree, then you cannot double dip. You cannot use that same course for one master's degree and then for another.
I'm not asking that, but I was told that
Waived?
Yeah.
We do not waive courses unless you can show that you've done a similar course. But again, it can be used for another degree. But let's talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, that's a specific case. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know if, like, I'm applying for fall 2020, what is the date that I hear back from CUNY if I was accepted into the program or not?
You can apply for fall 2020 today. We're already accepting applications for both the spring and the fall. And as soon as we accept them, we pre-review them to make sure that you have everything that you need, and then we forward them to the admissions committee. Not for the fall just yet, but we will be doing that later this year, this calendar year. So we review them on a rolling basis. So if you submit it by the deadline, March 1st, you should hear back within about a month. If you submit it on January 1st, you will definitely hear back way before March 1st. Yeah. Yeah. So the question was about the Mayor's Scholarship Program. So it's just another type of a scholarship that we offer. So it's $4,000 for your first year of study. It's only for the first year, and you have to first fill out their application, the Mayor's Scholarship Program application, which is due by November 15th. So make sure that you do that already with your agency.
this is actually through
Yeah. No, you do it at the same time. You actually do it at the same time. You apply for the Mayor's Scholarship through your agency by November 15th, and you apply to our programs, for the fall. It's only for the fall. It's not for the spring. So you would be applying for the fall by March 1st. Either way, we wouldn't be making any decisions on whether or not you received the Mayor's Scholarship until after March 1st. You had a question?
I think you might have answered it where I was going to ask. So if I was going to apply for fall 2020, I would still need to have the scholarship application in by November 15th.
Yeah, because your agency does things with it and it gets sent to the mayor's office. It's like a whole bureaucratic process.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, right? Sometimes it's per year for other schools, but this is cost for the whole program for us. Hi.
So to what the previous one was saying, so if you need to do like prereqs for the program, but can the prereq also count in the school? Like if I take statistics and I'm in an EPI program, will that carry over?
Not if it's an undergraduate course. We do not transfer undergraduate courses into graduate degrees, but if you take a graduate statistics course as a non-degree student somewhere, you may possibly transfer that course into our master's degree. Mm-hmm. Okay, so great. So now we will switch gears a little bit, but not really switching gears because you're going to be, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I heard that there's a fee that can be waived for applications. Like for Hunter, like if you go to a Hunter graduate program, then they waive the fee. Are there any opportunities like that for Hunter to School of Public Health kind of waiving fees?
So because we are on the SOFA system, which most schools of public health in the United States and Canada use, we do not have the authority to waive your application fee. If we were collecting the fee, we would do it. So the answer is no, we can't waive it for you, but SOFA does give out waivers. for a variety of students. You know, one of them is veterans and people who are in the Peace Corps, and there is a bunch of different categories. So if you just Google SOFA's fee waiver, or email me and I'll send you the information, you'll see all the different categories of students for which the application fees are waived. The application fee is $135 for the first program you apply for. And you can apply to all 5 of our PhD programs and all 3 of our Masters of Science programs. You wouldn't want to do that. That's a lot of money. Plus, you should really kind of know which master's program you're applying for. Although we have students who apply for community health and health policy, there's a lot of overlap between those. So we've seen applicants who have 2 or 3 applications for different programs. You would need to write different statements of purpose for each of those programs.
Is that true of the specialization as well? Will you have to pay an extra fee to apply for that?
The maternal child reproductive, no, that's a specialization that you choose once you are here. It is not. There's still kind of an application process. It's internal, and there's absolutely no fee associated with that. Okay, those are great questions. But I'm going to welcome Dr. Christian Grove, who is the chair of the Department of Community Health and Social Sciences.
How did you clap? All right. So this is going to be my first time on Facebook streaming live. So to our tens of thousands of viewers at home, thank you for joining us. And I'm sorry that this next part's not really going to apply to your viewers at home. So I'm Dr. Christian Grove. I'm the chair of the department, which is an administrative role. I spend my days answering emails. But before I just dive in, you guys asked some really great questions. Let's just do like a teensy bit of an icebreaker. So there's a good chance that the people that are sitting around you right now are going to be sitting around you in a classroom in the future. So just take a moment and introduce yourself to the person to the left and to the right of you and the person in the back and in front of you. Tell them your name and just maybe 1 or 2 sentences about what brought you here today. Discuss.
Now there's pressure. All right, so why don't we come back together? Sorry to cut off the conversation. So thank you. And I have a set of slides to go through, but there's not that much content there. So I'm just going to talk for a little bit about maybe myself, the program, and hopefully inspire you to submit an application to come to our program. So I want to get to know you guys a little bit as well. So just like sort of by show of hands, just to get a sort of feel for the room. So how many people here are native to the area? So the tri-state area, by show of hands. Okay, look around as well. So, you know, lots of, you know, sort of New Yorker-esque people in the room. How many people here are either a first generation or second generation immigrant, meaning you were not born here or your parents were not born here as well? Okay. How many people here are maybe you're the first in your family to try to get a graduate degree or even get a college degree? Again, look around the room. So, and how many people here, who were sort of raised in a public education system, like you went to a public high school, maybe a public college? Again, look around the room. So I'll just say, full disclosure, all those things actually describe me as well, though I'm not from, actually, all but two truths and a lie. One of those things don't describe me. So I wasn't born in New York, but I did come to New York to get my graduate degree. And I got my degree from the Graduate Center, which you might be familiar with as well, which is one of our sister schools. And I was very fortunate to have gotten a job after I finished my doctorate in CUNY as well. And one thing that I love about CUNY is what's baked into its mission with regard to the students and the population that it serves. Like it's social justice and social equity are baked into, CUNY. It is the largest engine to propel people into the middle class and beyond. I may be telling lies at this point, so for our viewers at home, I apologize if this is not entirely accurate. I believe CUNY is the largest urban university in the world as well.
Yes.
Correct. Ding. We have over 500,000 students. Correct. Ding. This one might be incorrect, but if you took the University of California system, UC Berkeley, UC Santa Barbara, UCLA, UC San Diego, UC this, UC that, and you added up the number of students and faculty in that and then compressed it into the 5 boroughs of New York City, that's CUNY. I could be wrong. Are we larger than the University of California system?
I don't know, but I use that analogy all the time.
Okay. Our viewers at home may look up the facts for us. But that's what CUNY is. And also when I explain to people sort of outside of New York who aren't very familiar with CUNY, it's like picture the entire University of California system and compress it into the 5 boroughs of New York City. So fast forward, I'm really happy to be here and work with the students that we get to work with. And as Meg has pointed out, I know that $22,000 is not an insignificant amount of money. That's $22,000 for 2 years, not 1 year. Whereas some of our, I don't want to say competitors, other schools that exist in New York offer MPH degrees for $45,000 a year. For instance. So, and if you walked into Macy's and it was 25% off, you're buying. It doesn't matter what they're selling, you're going to buy it because it's 25% off. Our degree is not 25% lower. It is 25% the price. It's 75% lower than what you're going to pay somewhere else. So, and I'll also say an MPH degree, as Meg has pointed out, we're an accredited body, and an MPH degree is considered it's a professional degree. My degree is actually in sociology, but I do public health, and that's how I ended up here. But if I got a bachelor's in sociology, I'm not a sociologist. If you get a master's in sociology, you're not a sociologist. You have to get a doctorate in sociology to be a sociologist. With public health, though, if you get a master's in public health, you are considered a public health professional and prepared to go out into the world and do public health practice. That's one of the benefits of this degree. I know that there are some people that are interested in the PhD as well, and there is certainly another step above it, very much a research-oriented degree, and we can talk about the distinction between the two. But with a master's of public health, you add those initials at the end of your name, and people in the world recognize that your name is so-and-so, MPH, and they know what that means. So, but that's just convincing you to, come here and apply for our degree, not just to convince you why you should come to community health and social sciences. So I'm in the Department of Community Health and Social Sciences. We're a relatively, or rather I'll say, I believe at the whole CUNY School of Public Health, we have about 50 faculty members, give or take. In our department, we're a faculty of 10, and I'll go through the folks in the department in just a second. And all of us coalesce around community health and social sciences. With the social sciences, it gives us some diversity as well. So like my degree is in sociology, for instance. We have folks that might have a degree in something else in the department, but our research, broadly coalesces around the idea of community health. We're not statistics, and not to disparage, my colleagues in other departments, we're not statistics. We're not necessarily crunching numbers. We have full embrace of qualitative research and mixed methods research in our department. And, we're not health management, right? We're not like, how does the healthcare system work? It's, be more things like, how does the healthcare system work differently depending on social determinants of health. Might be something that you would get in our department. And we're not, geospatial or environmental health or industrial hygiene, would be, the other degrees. And by all means, apply for those degrees as well. We're really focused on community health, and our MPH is in community health, if that makes sense. And I should say, I know that I came up here saying my degrees in sociology. I went to Hunter College and I got my MPH from Hunter. And that's what got me inspired to eventually become a public health person and not a sociologist in the end. So I have Hunter to thank for that before we, in 2016, became the collective CUNY School of Public Health. I've got like 3 slides to go through, and then I think we'll probably open it up to questions. We have one more speaker that's going to come in and specifically talk about the maternal, child, sexual, and reproductive health concentration. As Meg said, you don't apply for that during the application process. Once you're admitted to the program, it's like a Google form that you'll fill out that basically expresses your interest. If you are going to go down the maternal, child, sexual, and reproductive health road, I suggest that you figure that out sooner rather than later, because doing the MERCH concentration does not add more credits to the program. It's rather, in place of this course, you're going to take this instead. So if you wait till your 3rd semester to make that decision, then you're going to be here for extra credits. But if you walk in the door thinking, I want to do this right away, make that known to us so we can set you on a path that you're taking the right courses. I'll pause just real quick. I've said a lot and I speak quickly, I realize, and I've had coffee. Okay. So here's our mission and our vision, and yes, it's just for sort of the CHAS program, and if you can read it, that's fine. But I'll just say, one thing that I think is really, it's baked into CUNY, but I think is really baked into our department is sort of the emphasis on social justice and social equity. Is what we do. So much so that it's like fish in water. We don't even see the water around us. I would say, trust us. What I would say, so a lot of the people that are coming to our program, so how many of you currently, I forgot to ask these questions as well, so we'll do this as well. How many people here are working full-time? I know that Meg got, but I want to know specifically full-time. How many of you are working full-time in a close to public health field already? Okay. A lot of the students that come to our program, they're in public health right now, but they have a bachelor's degree, and in their own career, they might have sort of hit a little bit of a ceiling with how far they're going to go based on the training that they have at that point. So they come back to school to get the training in public health, and what that serves to do is launch them to a higher, position, a more leadership often position in their own field. I mean, or I guess I could say, how many people here does that sort of describe you? Like, you're looking to sort of advance where you are and where you're going. Then there's some people who they want to do something different. Like maybe they've sort of hit a ceiling with what they're working on right now and they want to go somewhere else. But I would say a majority of the students here, they're looking for advancement within the field that they're already in. That describes a lot of our students in the program. And then there's a handful that are just looking to maybe switch fields. They were doing something I worked in restaurants for numbers of years, and that got me interested in what people eat. So then that brought me to nutrition, and now I'm doing public health nutrition, for instance. And as Meg said, a lot of our students are currently working full-time. And then the other question I wanted to ask for you guys, and look around the room to answer this question, how many people in this room, either you are partially or completely responsible for the health and well-being of someone else, such as taking care of a sibling, a partner, a child, or whatever else too? Okay, that's the vast majority. I'd say probably about 75% of the room as well. That describes graduate students in graduate school. If you finish your degree when you're 22, you've been out for a couple of years, now you're at the point where you started families and there's different sets of responsibilities that have kicked in. And we completely understand that happens in graduate school. And we try to be particularly sensitive and flexible to that. As Meg said, a lot of our students are part-time. We want you to finish as quickly as possible, but we understand that, that's just simply not the reality for everyone. You can't read the slide, but that's our curriculum. And what I would say, this is on our website. This is copy and paste from the website. Our degree is a 42. Oh, okay, and you've got it in writing as well. 42 credit program. It used to be 45, so we've sliced off 3 credits. You're welcome. But our new degree is 42 credits. 5 courses are core courses, meaning that everybody, no matter what program you apply to, you're going to take that same 5 core courses, and that's really a foundation in public health. Then you roll into your, concentration specialization courses, and those are the ones that are housed really within our department. There's some space for electives. I'm sorry, I should know. Is it 6 credits? 3, 9.
It's gonna be more.
You've got somewhere between 3 to 4 electives, and with that, you're going to be matched with an advisor when you come here, and you and your advisor are going to talk about whether you think this is a good fit for you for the course. As a CUNY student, you actually can e-permit out to take courses at other CUNY campuses. If you're going to go that route, there's paperwork involved. It's CUNY, but you also need to really have a conversation with your advisor to make sure that course is appropriate for you. I'm sorry, but basket weaving at the graduate level at another school is probably not going to count towards your degree unless you can really make a case that this is the public health basket weaving something or other, okay? But it is possible for you to take courses at other CUNY campuses and have it count towards your degree. Most of our students end up taking all of their classes here, for a variety of reasons, including logistics. There is and let's talk about this offline, but there is a sort of field work and capstone that children have to do as well, which involves going out into the community, doing a project. Some students do it in their workplace. It can't be the same job you're normally doing and underneath the same supervisor that you're normally doing with. So you need to step outside of your box a little bit with it. Some students do it at their place of work. Others, get matched or, get assistance with finding an agency to do it there. And then there's a written piece, and the two of them, should be integrated together. Diana, how much time do we have you for? Because I don't want to cut into your, I'm almost done. Okay. And then we have pictures of people that work here. So I mentioned that our faculty, we're a team of 10 at the moment. We actually have an open faculty search, so maybe by the time you come, we'll be 11. And I don't think anyone's retiring any more retirements, so we should be at 10. But Spring Cooper, Sergio Costa, Nicholas Freudenberg, me, Meredith Mans, Pedro Mateo, Yellowbert just joined our faculty. He has 20 years experience as a sociologist, does work on, why am I going to his work specifically? Hepatitis C and injection drug use, because he's new, he's fresh. All right. Victoria No, who does work on mental health, Chris Palmedo, who does a lot of social marketing and social media communications work, Dr. Diana Romero, who we're going to meet in just 1 second, and Dr. Emma Sui as well. They're all on our website, and this is all copy-paste from the website, so I'm sorry for, I'm duplicating information that already exists. But and on that, I just wanted to introduce Dr. Diana Romero, who's also in our department, and can talk specifically about the maternal child sexual and reproductive health concentration. And then we'll probably open it up for more Q&A so that people can get their questions answered and we can get you home in a timely fashion. Thank you. Don't clap.
Please.
We go.
Okay, well, good evening, and let me offer my own hearty welcome to the CUNY School of Public Health. As Professor Grove said, I'm in the Department of Community Health and Social Sciences, but I've been kind of shepherding along with many faculty here at the school across all of our departments, this specialization in maternal, child, reproductive, and sexual health. I'll give you the basic background of it. I know we have a handout for that as well. Did I just do that? Oh. Mood lighting. I know. Well, that was good. Right? What I will say starting off is that this specialization is incredibly popular here. I think one of not only it's a combination of areas of, I abbreviated, I should have it spelled out, but maternal, child, reproductive, and sexual health, that's a big bucket. So a lot of things clearly could fit in there. And not surprising that a lot of people are interested in it, but also the fact that it is available to our master's and doctoral students, irrespective of the program they're in. It may be a little easier, relatively more or less easy to get all of the credits in the particular courses because each department has a slightly different mix of elective credits that are available and whether or not they require that certain types of classes be taken as their electives, but we've been successful in essentially having students across all our programs who are interested actually pursue it. The other thing is that it can be pursued. The reason why it's a little tricky in some cases is that it's designed to be incorporated into the degree. It's not additional credits, and you'll see when I go through it, people can select their electives and their other course requirements in a way that aligns with the requirements of the specialization. So very quickly, and I won't hang around too long after because I'm actually, if you didn't know, I'm teaching another class right now, so I'm doing two things at once. But like Professor Grove said, I also did a copy and paste. We have a handout of the background here, but the main thing is that the specialization has two core courses. One, they're right here, and you have the handout. One is maternal, child, reproductive, and sexual health in context, sort of the socio-historical context of the field. And then the other is MCRSH from a life course perspective. So that's more methodological. That's usually taught by faculty in epidemiology who use the life course approach to looking at different aspects in MCRSH. Then there's one required elective. We handle that a little differently depending on the department. We offer at least usually one elective a semester, although students can satisfy it in various other ways. So for example, right now we have a faculty member who's teaching a course on LGBTQ health. Next semester, we're gonna have a course on reproductive and sexual health rights and policy. In the summer, one of our faculty taught a course in sexual health promotion. Another faculty member of ours has taught a course in adolescent health. In our public health nutrition program, I don't know how often they offer this course, but a course in child health nutrition has been offered. So there are various, the reality though with electives is that they're not always offered all the time. And so it's a little bit of a, trying to plan in advance if possible. The other thing is that we offer independent studies. And so oftentimes if a student has a very particular topic they're interested in and we're not offering a course in it, they can partner with a faculty advisor to actually do a 3-credit independent study that could satisfy the MCRSH requirements. So, yeah, there you go. And I have a student doing one with me right now, which is, and if anyone here works at the health department, so the PRAMS data, we're about to receive those data any day now, and we have an analytic plan to analyze some of those data, and they are maternal and child health specific data. So she's doing an independent study with me on that. Okay. And then there's as Professor Grove mentioned, there's the field work and the capstone, or for a doctoral student, the dissertation. So the culminating experience would need to be related to MCRSH, some aspect of it as well. So I do a similar kind of, enumeration of faculty that are whose research focuses on this. And different from Professor Grove, this actually shows that it's beyond our department, beyond community health and social science. So while we certainly have Dr. Cooper, who was mentioned, our dean actually is, he was a practicing neonatologist, pediatrician, has done research in infant mortality, maternal child health, etc., domestically and internationally, a great resource. Professor Grove's work in HIV and study on PrEP more recently. Heidi Jones in our epidemiology department. She's a reproductive epidemiologist. Elizabeth Kelvin, also in the Department of Epidemiology, does a lot of international work around HIV/AIDS. Meredith Manzi in our department her background, excuse me, in health services research, has been doing a lot of research around reproductive health services, pregnancy intentions, abortion. Dennis Nash in epidemiology and actually the director of our Institute on Implementation Research. A long track record of research in HIV/AIDS, both domestically and internationally. Stacy Plicht is in our health policy and management department and has done a lot of work around intimate partner violence, domestic violence, health of women. Lynn Roberts in community health and social sciences recently, but now in our among our deans of the school, is a leading scholar activist around reproductive justice. Has done work internationally and domestically, and a founding member of Sister Song Collective, has a very long list of accomplishments. Myself, do a lot of work around reproductive health, contraception, abortion, and poverty policies. And some other stuff, but that's good. And then Mary Schooling, our chair of our Department of Environmental Occupational Health Sciences, trained in epidemiology, has a wide range of methodologic and substantive expertise, but has been very much involved in a longitudinal, very long-standing study in Hong Kong, I believe, around child health. And what I actually had added something, but it got cut off and I said, and others. We actually have some new faculty, and I know I've missed some people. But we actually have a new faculty member in epidemiology whose work is in this field as well. So this could be really deadly, and so I'm not going to do this. I've used this list in the past with students in our specialization when they've gotten to the point of thinking about their field work. And I have capstone first and field work next, and it really should be the reverse. But in any event, when we have our meetings every semester and they're thinking about their possible topics that they might focus their fieldwork activities on, or their capstone, culminating project, whether it's a master's essay or a write-up of a program, for example, oftentimes it's helpful for them to see what others have done. And so this, I have in parentheses at the end of each of these, the department. So you see EpiBios, HPAM, Health Policy Management, CHAS, EpiBios, CHAS. And again, if you want to, if you just want to skim while I talk for a few seconds, it gives you a sense there, nonprofit community-based organizations, there's a health department, there's medical centers, there may be municipal agencies, child welfare, a wide range. And in terms of methodologies, and now it gets into, well, there's some more. In terms of methodologies, they might be, quantitative data collection and statistical analysis. It could be qualitative data collection. It could be secondary analysis of pre-existing data. It could be development of helping organizations with development of new programs, evaluation of existing programs, health communication and dissemination, like a wide range. So I guess the best way I could make the case is by showing you fairly long, but certainly not comprehensive list. And this is just maybe from the last couple of years. It doesn't include last year, actually. So, so with that said, it may have been mentioned already, but students apply once they're enrolled in our program. They can certainly, you can express interest when you're applying, and it would be good on an application to know if this is an interest you have and maybe some background experience that you would be bringing to this. But once students are admitted to the program and are matriculated, then they would apply, and it's really a matter of then being able to work with your advisor to set up a plan to go ahead and meet the requirements. Our core courses are offered, each one is offered once a year in alternating semesters. So we know everyone knows in advance when they're offered and can plan to take them. And then they would be thinking ahead of the types of things they might do for their field work and capstone activities. I think that's it.
Does anyone have questions about the specialization? Not right now. Yes. Oh, you do. Great.
Hi. I was interested in the midwifery part of it. The midwifery part of it. I noticed that I was kind of interested in how that plays into it.
Well, so that was a project that a student did around the issue of midwifery. That's not a component of training. We're not a clinical, it's a public health part. But if I am thinking of the student, I don't remember the name up there. I did know a student who was interested in working with an organization called Choices in Childbirth. And then there was another organization that had to do with doulas. But it's really, many times students come already knowing about different organizations that they might be interested in reaching out to. And at the same time, we have our Office of Experiential Learning here, and there is a dedicated, member of the staff who works specifically with students and organizations. We have memorandum of understanding with a lot at this point. I don't know the exact number, but with a lot of organizations, so that if it already exists, it makes it a little easier for students to do their field work. But if we don't already have one, they work to trying to establish one.
Are there any students who might be getting MPH from another program, but some of the MCRSH coursework here?
So that would be like getting permission from your. I actually have students who did that. That would be getting permission from wherever you're getting your MPH, or your MPH, to be able to take a course, whether it's with us or any place, with the understanding that those credits will be accepted. We have been in a situation sometimes of having to have a wait list so that students with special position get into the role first. But because there seems to be interest, we've been accommodating that. So in general, we have had the capacity.
If you're not a student here though, we can't give you a certificate of specialization in your home school. You may not do that either. But if you want to take courses here, it's certainly possible to take courses in our program as a non-degree student, which is essentially what it would be.
We have a question from Natasha in the Facebook chat. Is the specialization offered to PhD candidates as well?
Yeah. Oh.
So Natasha can hear you.
Okay. Yes, the specialization can be done by master's and doctoral students.
Thank you.
So, there was a lot of projects and a lot of people and a lot of specializations. I'm mostly interested in sex ed and sexual health and mostly education. So can you speak to that, or folks who would be into that?
Yeah, so I mean, that just happens to be one area where one of our faculty, Spring Cooper, has done a lot of work, including has a whole separate blog project, and has worked. I have one organization, which is, there's probably more, but one organization that she's worked with locally is the Boys and Girls Club here, all around that. And she teaches our sexual health promotion course. So there's expertise certainly among our full-time faculty here. But in terms of it's almost like there's no limit necessarily to what students may choose to do or pursue. that fits under MCRSH. It's just being able to work with our Office of Experiential Learning so that whatever the project is, whichever organization or topic, in this case sex ed, that it meets the requirements of a fieldwork experience, and that you can point to the competencies that you would get from that experience and make sure that they align with the competencies that are expected or required. But that long list, the whole point is that it's very possible. And I think the one common thing is that there's no, standards. It's not about a set model, a uniformity. It's the diversity. I think that is what's really beneficial for students. Okay, last question, maybe?
So for the capstone project, is it 2 capstone projects, one for the MPH itself and then one for the MERSH, or is it hand in hand?
You can you have to double dip. So what you do is the capstone project you do has to be, MERSH related. Yeah. Okay. Well, it was nice being here. My students, gotta go. Thank you.
And I'm going to share with you this presentation. I'm going to email it to you. I know you signed in, including Dr. Romero's email address and, just the link to the MERSH website if you want to know a little bit more. If you have follow-up questions, you woke up at like 3 a.m. and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't ask this question. Okay. You can always reach out to me if you have any other questions or want to be put in touch with any faculty member. So she was talking about a lot of different faculty members. Dr. Grove was as well. Spring Cooper, right, with the sexual education. Didn't catch those names, just let me know and I'll know who to put you in touch with. Does anyone have other questions? It could be general admissions questions. It could be any questions at all. Yes.
What's your acceptance percentage? Like how many applications you guys get per semester versus how many you accept?
Sure, it's about 50%. Mm-hmm. And the admissions committee is going to look at your entire application, right? So I can't say that, and it varies. So it varies from year to year and it varies by program. So like EpiBios might be different, community health might be different, the health policy department might have a different look at your application. So let's say you are applying to 3 different programs. You might get accepted to one, but not the other 2 or all 3 or whatever it might be. Because the admissions committee is going to look at your application kind of holistically, right? So they're going to look at your grades, they're going to look at that statement, they're going to look at the letters of recommendation, everything else, and they kind of experience, right? Really important for a lot of these MPH programs, and make that holistic review. But what did you wanted to add something? Yeah. So I wouldn't focus on the number as much as making sure that you come across in your application as someone who's passionate about public health. Yeah. What are the most popular programs was the question. And community health is one of them. 2 most popular, so that means the programs that have the most students in them are community health and health policy and management. So you should apply to the program that interests you. Yeah.
Sorry, you already answered this. Do we have, how many credits do we accept for the transfer?
Sure, we haven't answered that question. The question is how many transfer credits we accept, and that's up to 12 credits. So that's usually 4 courses. And these credits have to be on a graduate level, and they cannot count for another degree. So you cannot double dip. You cannot use them for your Master's of Arts in something, and then your MPH in this program.
You got like one of those certificates, the advanced certificates that are the base program.
Sure, and our committee looks at each course that you submit. You have to submit a form with the syllabus and the course description. They'll look to see if those courses are the courses that we offer, and we can transfer them, that they're equivalent.
There are often not courses that exist here one for one. So if it's a public health course, we'll accept it, but it's going to count as an elective. So there's a limited number of electives you can take. So if you bring in 12 credits of elective, you might not need 12 credits of electives. Sometimes if you took a course in biostatistics, that's a fairly easy fit. But if you took something, the sociology of biostatistics, I don't know, maybe look at it and it's an elective.
Great questions. Any other great questions? Any questions at all? Okay. Yeah.
There we go. All right.
So I'm looking at the requirements for the PhD in community health and health policy, and I noticed that the total credits they're the same for community health and for the PhD portion?
Sure. So in order to get into the PhD, you already have to have a master's degree.
Okay, so my question to that is, to apply to the PhD, it's not like I'm applying for the PhD program now. It's until I receive my master's.
Exactly.
Okay.
You first have to have a master's degree. You don't have to have an MPH, although that is preferred. You could have a different master's degree and then apply for the PhD. But you would then need to take some additional public health courses to have that knowledge, that base in public health. Yeah, hi.
So I wanted to ask, within the community health curriculum, were there any opportunities where you could focus on mental health, potentially?
Mental health? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the question was, are there opportunities to focus on mental health? So I don't, I have to, we don't have any core curriculum that's specifically focused on mental health, but there may be electives that would pop up as this was a one-time offered course. Another option for you when you get to the fieldwork and capstone experience is that you can make that about mental health. And we have faculty in our program whose specialization is mental health. So although there may not be there could be a specific course on it, there's not a core curriculum course. And of course, in a lot of your classes where you might be doing something on community health, you have to pick a topic in community health to write a paper on or focus on. You can choose mental health to be that topic. Whereas like me, I do a lot of work on HIV and AIDS. So I would make my papers about HIV and AIDS because that's what I'm interested in the course on, whatever it may be. And I would say if there are no burning questions, we'll be around for a little while longer if folks want to ask us one-on-one, but you run the show. Why am I running the show?
But that's right. So class adjourned. Help yourself to some more food.